Hello everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Cooking with Grandma. Today I'm going to be making banana bread two ways. You know, the usual cakey kind of banana bread that you always see, always get. But I found online, there's a YouTube channel with the name is Apron, A-P-R-O-N. And I was, flipping through looking for something else, and I came across this person's video. And she's got quite a few recipes that are really cool, and I've made her banana bread before. Now this is banana bread, but it's like homemade bread. It's not the cake type of banana bread. And I also made her cream cheese buns, which are very good. So we're going to start with the banana bread, the bread type, because it does have to take a minute, take a bit to rise, and while all that's doing, we'll make the regular banana bread. So let's get started. So what you need to do, if you have a stand mixer, you can use a stand mixer. I don't. I just have a bowl, a wooden spoon, and my elbow grease. So what you need to do is put 2 1/3 cup of flour into your bowl. So I'm just going to measure that out. It is okay to mix it without, like, you don't want to use a hand mixer because you'll burn it out. But even if there's some of them I see out there that looks like a bread hook, but you'll burn it out. It's not going to go because it has to mix for like 15 minutes. So using a wooden spoon worked out fine for me. It was, I don't know if it's so much of a little bit more work. It's more work because you don't let the machine do it for you, but at the same time it wasn't that bad. So you just put your flour into your bowl. Now on her show she sifts the flour, but this is all-purpose flour. You don't need to sift it. It's good. Unless you see a lot of lumps, you don't need to sift it. And into that, now her recipe calls for milk powder, which I don't have, and I looked online what I can substitute it with. And you basically, however much it is, it's 2 tablespoons, so you just put 2 tablespoons more of the flour, because I don't have milk powder. I'm not going to buy milk powder because even if I make this a lot, I'll have a lot of it. So we're just going to do that. Now the next one, go back to my video here. 2 1/3 cups of flour, and that goes in. Sorry, I hit the pause button, but it backed it up a little bit, so I just have to do that. I've made it before, but I can't exactly remember what the next step is. I think it might be the banana. I've got a banana on the plate here. I'm just going to mash it up. It's really pretty cool that it only takes 1 banana, and it's got a hint of banana. It's not like fully banana flavor. It's not like your banana bread. The next step is 4 tablespoons of sugar, and then you're going to whisk that together. Okay. So get my whisk. You're going to whisk this together, and then you're going to take a very ripe banana, the kind you would use for your regular banana bread, mash it up on the plate, and we're going to add that into our flour mixture. This recipe is good because you don't have to proof the yeast. You don't have to take time and let it set for 5 minutes till it's foamy in the warm water or whatever. We're just going to put it right in here. So she's got the banana. So now what we want to do is take an egg, and you crack it into a 1-cup measuring cup. And to that you're going to add 70 milliliters, hers is, of milk. When I watched her video to get 70 milliliters, it's just under the 2/3 mark. It's just a little bit under the 2/3 mark. And then you take and you mix the egg, mix it up so the egg is all, you don't want it all clumpy. You want to get it good and mixed. And then you add the milk to that, which I just did. Get it mixed up. Make sure it's all, when you pull your fork out, you don't want to see any strands of egg. You just keep mixing until it's just like that, until it falls right off the fork. So after that's mixed, that goes in your flour and your banana mixture. And then you're going to put your package of yeast. Now I'm using quick rise, so it is just like the label says, quick rise. It rises a lot faster than normal, than regular kind of yeast. I think pretty much all the stores just sell quick rise now. So now you would, at this point, if you have a stand mixer, you would put it in your mixer with the paddle hook, and you would mix it until it's all like in a ball falling off your hook. Now you see I'm just doing it by hand, and again it takes a little more effort, but it's not that hard. It's already coming together just like it would. You see already the ball it's making? That's just what it would do in your stand mixer. You do have to make sure you get down and kind of turn it over a little bit. Make sure you get all the flour and dry ingredients that are off the bottom of the bowl. So now after this is all nicely mixed like this, we're going to put in 3 tablespoons of butter. My measuring spoon here. 1, 2, 3 tablespoons of butter goes in. And then you're just going to mix that in. Again, you could put it back on your stand mixer till it's all. Now with me using the soft margarine, it is a little bit more of a sticky dough. That's okay. When you're kneading it, putting it on your board, just add a little bit more flour. It's a little more wet because she used a stick of butter, and I don't have stick butter. I'm not even sure if they sell it here in Ontario. They might. I haven't looked in a long while. I mean, with butter they do, but I don't buy real butter. So that's it. Then when that is done, so I mean that's how easy that is, how quick and easy. It's basically your, homemade bread, which is so easy and so good to make. So I'm going to put a generous amount of flour on the bowl. I'm going to put a little bit in the bowl on top of my dough. Plop it out of there. Come on, you dough, get out of there. There it comes. And it is kind of sticky wet, so that's okay. We're just going to add a little more flour to that and get it so it's consistence of bread. So you want to take it and you just want to knead it until it's nice and smooth and elasticy and pulls apart. You turn it and pull it towards you and push. Turn it, pull it towards you and push, just like you would if you've ever made homemade bread. And a little more flour because it's quite sticky yet. And pull and push, and you just keep kneading it. Now she when she did it in her stand mixer, she mixed it together for 15 minutes, so it was probably more together. But I mean, look at how easy and quick this is coming together. It's already into the ball that I need, and you're just going to keep doing that until it's nice and it pulls and it goes back. You want to pull it and then let it go back to where it belongs, to its shape. You don't want any sticky on it. It's got to be a nice dry kind of bread dough, but yet soft. If you add too much flour, it's just gonna be a tough bread. It won't taste good. So there it is. That is all there is to that. So we're going to put this in the bowl. Just a tiny bit more flour on the bottom, it got a little sticky. And turn it over. We're going to put that in the bowl. Put a little tiny bit of flour on top of it. Now we're going to cover this with plastic wrap. And we're going to set it aside to let it rise until it's doubled in size. It could take anywhere from 15 minutes to half an hour. Now my trick for this is that I have my oven on and it's hot, so I set the bowl right on top of the stove, and the heat makes it rise even quicker than just by setting it anywhere. So now what I'm going to do is, while the dough is rising, getting it prepared, I'm going to make the traditional banana bread recipe that we all know and love. Just whatever recipe you like, it doesn't matter. Your recipe, if you've got like your grandmother's old-fashioned recipe, or if it's just out of a book that you've heard, you like, just go right ahead. And so I'm going to do this. Alright, so we got the oven preheated. I'm going to prepare the baking pan. Now it says to use a low pan. I'm going to use my square pan like this because I'm using my loaf pan for the bread. Can't be using, I don't have enough loaf pans. I'm going to have to invest in some more. So we want to butter the pan so nothing sticks when we're done. You do these steps like this and then you set it aside and it's, you know, it's all done. So there, easy peasy. Take a paper towel, spread a little bit, done. No problem. Alright, so now we're going to, in one bowl, we're going to combine our dry ingredients. So I'm going to take my set aside. Okay. Yeah, so I'm going to use my glass bowl so you can all see what's going on. So in this bowl, we're going to combine our dry ingredients, which is 2 cups of flour. Half. There's 1. Now leave a comment below how many of you all have been baking more than ever now that you're home more. Is there some people out there that don't usually bake that often but have been? Leave me a comment below and tell me what kind of things you make. And if there's something you like for me to make that you want to know how to make, leave it in the comments as well and I'll get the recipe for you and get right at it. So we need 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder. 1.5 teaspoons. That's in. And 1/2 of a teaspoon of baking soda. Okay, baking soda in. And 1/4 of a teaspoon of cinnamon. I use a little more because it also calls for 1/8 of a teaspoon of nutmeg. I don't like the taste of nutmeg, so I replace it with cinnamon. That's one thing good about baking with spices like that. You can substitute one for the other. If you don't care for a spice or if you just don't have it, you know, you just substitute it. So then we're going to mix all that in. I believe that's all. Oh, just the salt, 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt. So I'm going to give a little sprinkle. There we go. So now we're going to mix this in just like this. Real simple. Super easy. Get it level. And then you take your hands and you just make a well. You want it no opening. You don't want to go right down to the bottom of the pan. You don't want to see the bottom of your bowl. But just make a well. And then we're going to set that aside. And in the other bowl, we're going to mix our wet ingredients. So now we have to have 2 eggs that are beaten. So put your 2 eggs in your bowl. And take a fork and just give them a little. You want to just basically break up the yolk. So you don't want that. It's a little easier to mix after when it's all broke up. Simple, simple, simple. So, and then we want a couple of ripe bananas. Put my plate. You just put them on a plate and mash them, same as I did with the bread. You just, these are really, really, really ripe, so they don't need much mashing. As soon as I squirt them out of the thing, they're so ripe that I could just touch them and they go smushy. I let them sit just a little too long, almost too long. Like one more day and they would have been kind of liquefying and they wouldn't have been good for this for any recipe. You would just have to be throwing them away. So just take a fork and smash them up. Easy peasy. I don't like recipes that are hard and lots and lots and lots of steps and complicated and ingredients that, you know, you don't normally buy. Or I mean, once in a while if I find a new recipe and I'll buy those ingredients if I don't have it, but I don't do it all the time. It's just I would rather do nice simple comfort foods, you know, easy peasy. And so now to your bananas, we're going to put 1 cup of sugar. Half and 1. Set that aside. And 1/2 a cup of cooking oil. Just 1 minute, I'll be right back. Okay, I forgot to get that out. 1/2 a cup of cooking oil. You can use melted butter if you like. I've just always used the cooking oil. And again, like I've mentioned before, make sure when you're measuring liquids you use a measuring cup that has a spout for your liquids and a flat one for your dry, because there's a little bit of a difference. It ain't the 1/4 of a cup, 1/8 of a cup, it doesn't matter, but it will make a difference in your baking. Okay, so we combine the eggs, the banana, the sugar, and the oil. We're going to give that a stir, just, a little bit. Give it a good mix. And if you have some lumps of banana that didn't mash up, that's okay, because they're going to bake down, and plus the fact if you come across a chunk of it, that's okay. So what we're going to do is pour this in this little well that we made all at once. And of course it's going to leak over because it's not a hole. We just put that in there and we give that a mix. You don't want to over mix this. It'll make your bread have air holes in it and it'll make it dense and not very moist and nice. You just want to give it, stir it around and kind of fold in the liquid and the flour, and make sure you get it right all on the bottom. Just stir it around until it's all mixed. You don't want to see any white. You don't want to see the flour at all. Just keep stirring. I fold it. Go around, scoop from the bottom, and flip it over. Around, scoop from the bottom, and flip it over. And that's how you fold in ingredients. If a recipe ever says fold, now you know you're folding it. And there it is. That is all there is to your normal everyday banana bread. I do believe I do have a video that I made banana bread with once, but I'm just doing it again just to show you banana bread 2 ways, with the bread and the cakey bread. So now you're going to pour it into your prepared pan. Bring that over. There you go, and just scrape it away. Pour it on in. I know one time I made a double batch and I baked it into a 9x13 cake pan, and I took it off the edge of the table. I was filling it up. I was ready to transfer it to the oven, and I dropped it, and of course it went upside down. I mean, it couldn't have just landed straight up and had a little bit of it plop out. No, it went upside down. So there goes that banana bread. All that ingredients, all those bananas and the eggs and the flour, all over my kitchen floor. Needless to say, we did not have banana bread that day. So there, you just put it in your pan. Now this bakes for where am I going? Okay, 55 to 60 minutes. Now you can make a streusel topping for this. There. So the streusel topping is just packed brown sugar and flour, and you use a pastry blender and you mix it in, and you crumble it. So actually I think I'll do that today. I think I'll go make my streusel topping. It's an extra little bonus kind of thing for the baking, and it tastes good. So we need streusel topping. Okay, small bowl. We need 1/4 cup of packed brown sugar. Get the brown sugar out. And get my 1/4 of a measuring. You want it packed in, always pack it. Put that in there, and it calls for 3 tablespoons of flour. Sugar, 3 tablespoons of flour. Okay, 3 tablespoons of flour. Oh, and 2 tablespoons of butter. I was going to say, why would they ask for a using a pastry blender if you don't use any butter. So 3 tablespoons of flour. Okay, and it says to use your pastry blender or just your fork or whatever, and blend in 2 tablespoons of butter. Now I'm only going to use 1 tablespoon because my butter is very, very soft. It's warm out and I've had it out with the other baking. So I'm going to just use 1 tablespoon because otherwise it'll be too wet and you have to add more flour or more sugar or a combination of both. So I'm just going to use my pastry blender. This isn't really the right size bowl for this to get my pastry blender in there. So I'm going to use a fork and just give it a good mix. You want this a crumble topping. You want it to be, little, just like any other kind of a topping you would make. You'd want it to be like a crumble look. You want it to be little pea size looking like. So there, and it's just as easy doing it with the fork. You take the back of the fork, and it's working out pretty good. You see how it looks? And if it looks a little bit too wet, add a little bit more of each of the flour and the baking of the brown sugar. You don't want to just add flour instead of the sugar too, because it'll just make it no taste. Flour will take all the taste away. But this is actually just right. And again, I cut down on the butter because it's so soft. I would have definitely had to add more sugar and flour. So now you just take it and just take your hand. If you want to use it with a spoon, go for it. But when you bake, you use your hands a lot. You wash your hands before you start, so it's not like you're touching your food with, dirty hands. Some people think it's a little yuck. Don't use your hands. Then just go ahead and spoon on. So there you go. We're going to put this in the oven and let it cook. Now the recipe says for 55 to 60 minutes, but because it's in a bigger area, it may not take as long. So after about 40 minutes, I'm going to check it. I'm going to put the timer on for 40 seconds. 40 minutes. That won't do you much good. And our bread dough is still rising. So I'm going to come back to you and show you everything when the bread is risen. I'll show you the next step, and when the brownies are the bread is done. We'll be right back. Okay, so now I'm back again. We've let our dough rise until it's double in size. And oops, I almost grabbed butter. And now we're going to go to the next step. You put some flour down on your board. Take it out of there. Okay, get the bowl out of the way here. We don't need that anymore. You take it out of your bowl and just put a little bit more flour. You're going to just a little bit. You're not going to really need it right now. You're just going to get it into the nice. Kind of pat it down. So it's a little bit like this. You want to kind of get it nice and smooth, and you're going to pat it down, and then you're going to take a knife and you're going to cut it in half. There you go. Set one piece aside, and with this piece you're going to put it in the rectangle like this. You're going to fold it over halfway and then this way. Turn it around and fold it this way, and then like this and like this. And you're going to keep doing this until it makes itself into a nice little ball. So one more time should do it. And then it makes a nice little ball. And you just kind of turn it like this till it's a nice smooth ball. Set that over there. And you're going to do the same thing with the other one. So you're going to fold it right down in thirds. And then fold it, give it a turn, and fold it like this, and you just keep going, folding opposite corners like that, and then this way, and until it's just about formed itself into a ball. And there. And then you turn it over, a little bit more flour, and you just leave these in a ball. Now you don't have to let these go too long. It's only 15 minutes for this time. So we're going to cover it up with the plastic wrap, and I'm going to set my timer for 15 minutes. It is a little more time consuming making homemade bread, but the rewards are so worth it. So let that sit for a bit, and then I'll show you our banana bread out of the oven, our banana streusel topping bread. It came out really perfectly. I'll cut you out a piece and show you on a plate how nice it looks. Scooch my bread over a little bit. And you always take a toothpick and stick it in the highest part and pull it out. If it comes out clean, then you know it's done. Just like any kind of brownies or anything like that. And you take it out, and there's your banana bread. Now the streusel topping with brown sugar, the flour, and the butter is optional. You can also put nuts in it if you want. I'm just out of walnuts right now. And that is how high and delicious and yummy. You can put some butter on either side of it and pick it up in your hands and just have at it. So there's our dessert. And in my previous video I made asparagus soup. You'll see that one. That was posted yesterday. So have your soup and a salad maybe, and then have a nice piece of banana bread and a rhubarb. Sorry, my brain just lost it for a second. Rhubarb brownie. Have those for dessert. So I'm just going to set that over on the side, and I'm going to be back with you in 13 minutes to show you what to do with the next step of the bread. Okay, so now the next step is that once the little balls have risen for the 15 minutes, you take it and you just pat it out, and you want to roll it into a rectangle. This dough is very, very soft, so it's super, super easy. It does spring back a few times on you, so just go ahead until it stops coming back on itself. You just go like that and get a nice, even rectangle. You want it to be all the same thickness. There, just like that. And then you're going to roll it just like this. You're going to roll it up to the end. And you're going to just stretch it out so it's even. And give it a little pinch all the way across like this so it sticks together. Tuck in the ends. And then give it just a little roll just so it stays put, so you know it's staying together. Make sure it's all stuck together because it'll fall apart otherwise. And then what you're going to do is take and you're going to cut it, but not all the way through. You're just going to make slits. You want to go all the way across. Usually you get 10 pieces. You just go almost to the bottom, but you don't cut all the way through. This is the way it's going to bake. Okay, and you take your greased loaf pan, and put it in there like this, and just open them up just a little. So when they bake, so what you can do is you just pull them apart. It's like kind of pull apart bread. Okay, we'll set that guy over here, and we'll do the next one. And you're getting the 2 loaves of bread. They're not big, huge loaves of bread, like a, you know, homemade, normal homemade, but they're a little bit thinner. But it's still homemade bread. But you get, for the 1 package of yeast and just 1 banana, and you get the 2 loaves of bread out of it. So there we go. Same thing. Just roll it all the way down. Nothing to be taking your time about or delicate. Give it a straighten it out like this. Give it a pinch so it all holds together. Take this end here and tuck it into tuck in your corners so they're nice and flat. Give it a little roll. Okay, I didn't pinch it quite enough. It unrolled right away. Give it another little roll just to make sure. There we go. Now I got it. Now my corner came out. There we go. And you always want to put the rolled side down. So again, we're going to cut it Just give it little slits. There you go, and in your other pan. And again, you just want to separate your little slices, just so it bakes and it splits open. There we go. Now, put that sideways. And we're going to cover it with saran wrap. And it's got to set and rise till double again. This is the hard part with bread, because it's make it, let it rise, you know, pound it down, make your shape, let it rise, pound it down. So this is the time, it's a little time consuming doing it this way, but that's okay. It's worth it in the end. It's very much worth it. So I will be back with you to show you how to, when you put it in the oven, and what the finished product looks like. Okay, so now we're back, and we did our final rising. It took almost another hour. So what I did is, after I rose it, did the last final rise, I just went ahead and put it in the oven instead of pausing it again. It bakes for only 17 minutes. It only takes, and this is what you get. Isn't that lovely? That's so good. And this one here, they're about the same. We're just, you know, one's a little bit bigger. And then to serve it, just pop it out, because you've greased that so it just flops right out. And then to serve it, you just break it apart, just like this. And you have perfect slices of banana bread. Ow, it's hot, but get careful. So that's what you get. That's what you get. And there you go. So I hope y'all like those recipes. Let me know in the comments below what you think, what you'd like me to make in the future, and hit the like button. And if you haven't subscribed, go for it, and ring the bell when you know, so you know when I'm in my kitchen again. All right, have a good day, everybody. Stay safe.